Hey CinemaBlend fans, events editor Eric Eisenberg coming to you from Las Vegas, where I just got out of the Walt Disney presentation at CinemaCon 2019. They showed off a whole bunch of stuff, including the first 17 minutes of Toy Story 4, a few scenes from Lion King, a bit of a musical number from Aladdin. However, the big movie that we are here to talk about in this video is the biggest movie of this year, basically, Avengers Endgame. Now, I'm gonna go into all of this material, and it's not spoilery, so you don't have to worry about that. But before I do, please do us a favor and hit that subscribe button, because we make a lot of awesome videos and you guys really don't want to miss any. So to set you up with some of kind of a context of what this scene is, it's actually kind of an extended version of bits that we've seen from the trailer, which is to say the members of the Avengers kind of getting to know Carol Danvers, who has come back to Earth courtesy of Nick Fury's pager and alerting her to the just decimation from Thanos. And she immediately takes charge. She is very aggressive in it. It takes her like maybe a couple minutes for her to just immediately say, okay, I'm gonna go kill Thanos now, which pretty badass. And of course, like, all the other Avengers are just like, whoa, slow down. We are a giant team, and we just got our ass kicked. So what makes you think that you're gonna be any better? And she gives a pretty natural response of, well, you didn't have me. And there is kind of a nice little back and forth that kind of contextualizes a bit of where Captain Marvel has been these past couple of years. Those of you who saw Captain Marvel know that she's been gone for about 25 years or so. And now, like, so actually Rhodey even asks her, like, if you're so powerful, why weren't you back here? Why didn't you come back? And her explanation is, well, not every planet has the Avengers. Not everyone has someone to protect them from these big intergalactic threats. So I was needed elsewhere, and unfortunately, things didn't work out here in the meantime. There's certainly some bit of wariness on the part of Captain America, Black Widow, and Rhodey in particular, and Bruce Banner. However, Thor is kind of sitting in the back of the footage for most of the time, just kind of taking it all in and whatever. Eventually he stands up, doesn't say a word, goes over to Captain Marvel, and this is kind of a bit from the trailer, which is he sticks out his arm, and Stormbreaker just flies in right over Captain Marvel's shoulder. She doesn't flinch at all, and of course he delivers the line,
I like this one.
So there is obviously one big problem that the Avengers are facing. Not only do they have to face Thanos and defeat him and try and reverse all the effects of the Infinity Gauntlet snap, but they also don't actually know where he is. For those of you who remember in Avengers Infinity War, he used the Space Stone to just kind of blink himself out of Wakanda. We didn't know where he went. However, Nebula, who of course is one of the daughters of Thanos, kidnapped by him at a very young age, put together again and again and again, kind of made more cybertronic, cyborg, and it turns out that she has a few ideas about where Thanos is. Specifically, Thanos always talked about going to a place after he did the snap, going to a place called the Garden. And unfortunately, that's not really super helpful. They know it's like a planet out there, but there isn't much more else to go on. However, that's when Rocket actually kind of comes up with a good idea, which is that he recognizes the kind of cosmic energy that was given off, like the massive, massive source of cosmic energy that happened when Thanos snapped his fingers and caused the decimation. And it turns out that there was the first one, obviously, in Wakanda. The Earth was the center of this big blast. However, 2 days ago, according to Rocket, there was another blast on another planet far, far out there. So the Avengers realize this is where Thanos has to be, and so they're gonna take the fight to him. From there, they all get into Rocket's spaceship. It's actually asked by Rocket to the rest of the group who hasn't actually been in space before. I believe it's Captain America, Black Widow, and Rhodey, who all raise their hands and say, new experience. And Rocket's like, well, just don't throw up in my spaceship. And it's kind of a cool little moment. And so then they kind of brace themselves, they get ready, and they get ready to make a jump across space, which is accented by this awesome close-up of Chris Evans' eyes, where you kind of get a Stanley Kubrick 2001 kind of vibe, where you see kind of all of these lights flashing in his eyes. Another interesting thing that they mentioned was the fact that apparently, and this is kind of something that we knew, but Captain Marvel is of the full belief that the only way to reverse the effects of the decimation is to effectively get the Infinity Gauntlet away from Thanos, wear it, and use it once again to kind of reverse the effects of the snap. Again, this is kind of something that we knew, in the sense that, like, what else could possibly be powerful enough to change reality in that way and all these lives? So we kind of assumed it was that. However, it is interesting that it does seem that the ultimate mission for the Avengers this time around is to basically get the gauntlet for themselves and fix everything. I think there is going to be some speculation coming out of this, possibly just because Captain Marvel is a very powerful character. The Infinity Stones can only be willed by somebody that actually has the power to hold them, otherwise they're just gonna die. So she is certainly a candidate to hold on to it. It is worth noting that not all of the Avengers characters who survived the snap were actually in this scene. Obviously, I mentioned characters like Cap, Rhodey, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor. However, it seems that this part of the movie is before, even though Nebula is there, it seems to be before Tony Stark arrives somehow. Not really sure how that plays. We've seen some footage in the trailers that suggested that maybe they were working together to try and get back to Earth. That still hasn't been fully clarified, so that still remains a mystery. We know from the trailer that eventually Black Widow's gonna go out and find Hawkeye, who's been operating as Ronin, seemingly in Japan. He wasn't there for this sequence. And Ant-Man, we know, is going to be able to get out of the quantum realm. We know from the first trailer that was released back in December that he's going to find himself at the Avengers facility knocking on the front door. And it's also worth mentioning that despite the fact that they were going into space, they weren't wearing those white spacesuits. A lot of people were assuming that this would kind of be their Avengers uniform as they were getting ready to fly up into space. That doesn't appear to be the case because it wasn't the uniforms they were wearing. There is another theory out there that they are actually quantum realm suits, so could that theory possibly hold water? We'll just have to wait and see. Very, very cool stuff. Obviously, the big takeaway from it all is the relationship with Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is brand new to this entire group. She doesn't have the kind of relationship that everybody else has. They really don't seem to be at all aware of who she is and what she can do. However, she is very, very confident. She never seems to have any kind of doubt about what she can do and what she can do against Thanos specifically. I'm curious how that's eventually going to evolve into basically a more teamwork dynamic, because they're not going to be able to be at odds with Captain Marvel all the while they're trying to kind of reverse everything and bring everybody back to life. This footage was very non-spoilery. It was only a few minutes to kind of give us a taste, and honestly, I was kind of worried about it going in because I just wasn't sure that I really wanted to see any more Avengers Endgame footage before this movie actually came out. That wasn't the case here at all. Instead, it only really just got me more excited. I was already pretty excited, so this is definitely an intense feeling right now. Stay tuned for more of our coverage, and of course, click that subscribe button because we always love it when you do that.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.